Before we ever faced the decision, before we even realized there was a decision to make, God had already gone ahead of us. His plan wasn't reactive, it was proactive. He didn't wait for us to get confused before stepping in. He had already mapped the journey, chosen the door, and prepared the outcome. The idea that God already chose your door is a reminder that divine direction always precedes human decision. And that truth changes everything about how we wait, how we walk, and how we trust. Too often we stand in front of what looks like a hallway full of closed doors, pacing, panicking, wondering which one is right. We go back and forth asking, God, is it this job? Is it that relationship? Is this the right move? Should I wait or go? But what if the real peace comes in realizing the door isn't up to us to choose? It's up to us to trust. When we understand that the door was never ours to figure out, but rather to walk through in faith, it takes the pressure off our shoulders and places it firmly into the hands of the one who sees the end from the beginning. God is not surprised by where you are. You may feel like you're stuck between options, but God is not confused. He's not in heaven wringing his hands saying, I hope they choose the right path. No, he's sovereign. He's intentional. He's already chosen the door that leads to your purpose, your growth, your healing, your breakthrough. He's not looking at your life moment by moment. He's looking at the complete picture, already knowing what you need 5 years from now, even when you're just praying for tomorrow. Sometimes we mistake our indecision as a lack of faith, when really it's an invitation to deepen our trust. You don't need to know every detail. You just need to know that the one who holds the map is faithful. You don't have to kick down doors or try every handle. That's exhausting, and it leads to frustration and burnout. But when you believe that God already chose your door, you begin to rest in his pace and his process. This is where we often struggle. We want to be in control. We want to peek behind every door to see what's on the other side. We want guarantees, clarity, timelines, but God's way often requires obedience before understanding. He says, walk by faith, not by sight. He doesn't show us the full picture because he's more interested in shaping our character than satisfying our curiosity. He wants us to learn that we're not just called to the outcome, we're called to trust him in the process. And here's the powerful part. God never wastes your steps. Even if you feel like you took the wrong turn or lingered too long at the wrong door, God still uses it. He redeems every delay, every detour, every doubt. But know this, the door he chose for you has never moved. It's not running from you, it's waiting for you to grow into the person who's ready to walk through it. That's why the timing may not always match your expectation, but it will always align with your preparation. So the question isn't, which door should I choose, but rather, do I trust the God who chose it for me? When you settle that question in your heart, fear loses its grip, pressure dissolves, peace begins to reign, because when you believe God already chose your door, you stop striving and you start trusting. That trust is the foundation for every other key we'll walk through, because once you know the door is already chosen, you can endure the delay, discern what's not yours, embrace the hallway, activate your faith, and confidently walk through the one door that has your name written on it. We live in a world that equates speed with success. We want everything fast, quick answers, instant results, immediate breakthroughs. And when things don't happen on our timeline, we start to assume something's wrong. We start questioning ourselves, doubting our prayers, and even wondering if God has forgotten us. But here's the truth. Delay doesn't mean denial. Just because the door hasn't opened yet doesn't mean God has changed his mind. It just means he's still working behind the scenes to bring everything into alignment. His timing, your development, and the purpose he placed inside you. Sometimes God will intentionally delay a door, not because he's punishing you, but because he's preparing you. He sees what's on the other side of that door, both the opportunity and the weight of it. He knows what it will require of you emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and he loves you too much to let you walk through something prematurely and be crushed by the weight of what you're not ready to carry. So instead of rushing you, he builds you. He strengthens your character. He shapes your faith. He refines your vision, because the right door at the wrong time can still lead to disaster. The delay is not a sign that God is absent. It's often a sign that he's deeply involved. We think we're waiting on God, but often he's waiting on us to mature, to let go of what's not for us, to develop the trust needed for the next season. The hallway between where you are and the door God has chosen can feel long, uncertain, even silent, but it's sacred. That space is holy ground. It's where God does some of his best work, where he chisels off fear, pride, insecurity, and replaces them with wisdom, strength, and resilience. One of the hardest things to accept is that the delay might last longer than you expected. You pray, fast, obey, and still the door doesn't move. That's when the enemy whispers lies. Maybe God isn't listening. Maybe he changed his mind. Maybe you missed it. But let me remind you, God is not slow. He is strategic. What feels like a pause to you is often divine positioning. While you're waiting, he's aligning connections, shifting people into place, opening hearts, and closing wrong paths. The delay isn't a mistake. It's precision. And when the appointed time comes, it won't be a push or a struggle. The door will open smoothly because it will be God's doing, not yours. Don't confuse delay with denial. They are not the same. Denial says no, not ever. But delay says yes, but not yet. And when you live with that perspective, you start to see time differently. You no longer measure God's faithfulness by how quickly things happen, but by how deeply he is involved in every moment, even the silent one. And what's beautiful is this. When you accept that the door is coming in God's time, you stop rushing and start resting. You stop panicking and start preparing. You begin to see that the hallway isn't empty. It's full of lessons, growth, and quiet miracles that shape you into the person who can handle what's on the other side. You'll find peace in knowing that if it hasn't opened yet, it's not because you've failed, but because he's faithful. So while you're waiting, don't waste the waiting. Lean into it, worship in it, grow through it, because the delay is not your enemy. It's part of your preparation. And when that door opens, you'll realize it didn't come late, it came right on time. We've all been there, looking at the doors in front of us, trying to figure out which one to walk through, anxious we might choose the wrong one. In our pursuit of purpose and direction, we often believe more options mean more freedom. But the truth is, not every door is meant for us. And that's not a loss, it's actually a blessing. When God says no or closes a door, it's not rejection, it's redirection, it's protection. He's keeping you from what looks good, but isn't God. It's easy to assume that because a door is open, it must be the right one. That mindset leads us into confusion, chasing things that sparkle but don't satisfy. We start knocking on doors out of desperation, not discernment. But not every open door is divine, and not every closed door is an attack. Some doors are distractions, opportunities that pull you away from God's best because they appeal to your impatience or your ego. If you don't understand this, you'll end up stepping into rooms God never called you to enter and wondering why peace left when you arrived. God's chosen door comes with confirmation, not confusion. It won't demand you to compromise your values or dilute your purpose. It won't force you to become someone you're not just to fit in. It will challenge you, yes, it will stretch you, but it will also align with who you are becoming in Christ. That's how you know it's from Him. It pushes you deeper into your purpose, not away from it. When you realize that not every door is yours, you stop living in constant comparison. You don't get jealous of someone else's opportunity or calling because you understand that their door was never meant for you in the first place. What God has prepared for you is specific. It's custom designed. It fits your gifting, your timeline, your journey. Just because someone else walked through their door sooner doesn't mean you've been forgotten. It simply means their timing is different. And God knows exactly when and how to open your door. There's also freedom in knowing you don't have to knock on every door. You don't have to chase validation or force open opportunities. When you trust that God already chose your door, you learn to wait with confidence and walk with wisdom. You become more sensitive to His voice and more discerning of His peace. You begin to ask different questions, not, how can I make this happen, but, God, is this from you? That shift in mindset is powerful. It saves you from unnecessary pain and positions you for divine clarity. It's not about having 100 open doors in front of you. It's about walking through the one that God has prepared. Sometimes the rejection you feel is actually a release from what wasn't yours to begin with. It might hurt in the moment, but looking back, you'll see how God's no was a greater yes in disguise. You'll thank Him for the doors He shut, for the opportunities He blocked, for the places He didn't let you stay. And the beautiful thing is this: the right door will never require you to force your way in. It will open at the right time with the right peace for the right purpose. You won't have to manipulate it or beg for it. You'll simply recognize it because it will carry the signature of God's hand all over it. So stop knocking on doors that were never meant to open. Trust that the one God has chosen for you is not just available, it's aligned. And when you walk through that door, you'll step into more than a room. You'll step into destiny. There's something about the hallway between where you are and where you're going that tests everything in you. It's the space between the promise and the fulfillment, the prayer and the answer, the calling and the door. And it's easy to overlook. In fact, we often try to rush through it or wish it away. But what if I told you the hallway is not a punishment? It's preparation. God isn't just interested in you reaching the door. He's invested in who you become before you walk through it. And that shaping happens in the hallway. The hallway is where God does deep internal work. It's not glamorous. It's not public. There's often no applause, no spotlight, just you, your thoughts, your questions, and your faith. And yet, this is where the most critical growth happens. It's in the waiting, in the quiet, that God refines you. He builds your endurance, develops your character, sharpens your discernment. He teaches you to lean not on your own understanding, but to acknowledge Him in all your ways. Because when the door finally opens, it won't be your talent that sustains you. It will be your trust in Him. Many people want the platform, the breakthrough, the opportunity, but they don't want the hallway that leads there. They want the blessing, but not the process that makes them ready for it. But the truth is, the hallway is where you learn how to handle the weight of what's coming. It's where you learn how to carry peace in pressure, how to hear God's voice above the noise, how to stay faithful even when you feel forgotten. If you skip the hallway, you might arrive unprepared, and what should be a blessing could feel like a burden. It's in the hallway that you also learn to let go. Let go of timelines, of control, of unhealthy attachments to things and people who can't go with you to the next level. Sometimes the reason the door hasn't opened is because you're still carrying baggage that doesn't belong in the next season. God is not trying to delay you. He's trying to protect you. He's giving you time to release what could hinder you later. The hallway is holy ground, even when it feels like a holy place. Don't despise the hallway. Don't underestimate the value of this season. You may not be where you want to be yet, but That doesn't mean God isn't working. The hallway builds trust because you can't see what's next. It builds faith because you're walking without proof, and it builds patience because you can't rush God's process. You may feel hidden right now, but that hiding is not rejection. It's incubation. God is developing the strength, wisdom, and confidence you need on the other side of the door. And here's something powerful to remember. What you gain in the hallway will go with you through the door. The peace you develop in the hallway will help you stay grounded when the door opens. The humility you cultivate in the quiet will keep you steady when the spotlight comes. The prayer life you deepen in waiting will anchor you in the blessing. Nothing is wasted. God is not idle in the hallway, and neither should you be. So instead of pacing in frustration, start walking in expectation. Use the hallway to grow, to worship, to heal, to listen, because when the door opens, and it will, you'll step into it not just with excitement, but with experience. And that experience will make you strong enough to stay, wise enough to lead, and humble enough to give God glory on the other side.